You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
Before you sign anything in Korea's property market, 7,000 Seoul listings vanished in 3 days after the capital gains tax exemption expired. Seoul apartment prices have now risen for 71 consecutive weeks, and the government just designated a new Gangnam area district for 20,000 homes, with the first completions not expected until December 2028. The listing withdrawal speed is what stands out. 7,000 units in 3 days is not a gradual adjustment. It's sellers making a coordinated decision the moment the tax incentive disappeared. It's Friday, June 12th. Let's look at what's happening in Korea's property market. Korea's capital gains tax exemption for multi-property owners expired on May 9th, and the effect was immediate. Sellers who had been discounting to beat the deadline pulled listings and began raising asking prices within 48 hours of the expiry. The result is a market with fewer listings, lower transaction volume, and rising prices, a historically reliable combination that precedes further upward pressure when pent-up demand reaches a breaking point. The government supply response, the Seoripul New Town designation announced this week, adds 20,000 units to the Gangnam pipeline, but the earliest completions target December 2028, offering no near-term relief for renters or buyers. Let's get into the transaction data. Here's what the numbers show. Land transaction permit applications in Seoul averaged 190 per day in the month, following the capital gains tax reintroduction, down 44.1% from the April daily average of 340, with Seocho District recording the steepest decline at 67.2%, followed by Gangnam and Songpa at 55% each. Seoul apartment listings fell by 6,958 units over 1 month, reaching 61,537 total as of Thursday, with 4,510 listings disappearing in just the first 3 days after the CGT reinstatement. That's the supply side. What about prices? Seoul apartment prices rose 0.27% in the second week of June, the 71st consecutive weekly gain, accelerating from a maximum weekly rate of 0.15% during the multi-property seller liquidation window in March and April. The Jeonse Supply Index, Korea's measure of availability in the lump sum deposit rental market, where tenants pay 50 to 70% of a property's purchase price up front instead of monthly rent, hit 121.2 in early June, the highest reading since February 2021, and the first breach of the 120 threshold in over 5 years. The Jeonse tightening matters as much as the sale price data. When Jeonse is scarce, it pressures renters toward buying, which is exactly what the first-time buyer numbers are showing. Seoripul District 2 was officially designated on June 11th, adding 2,000 units in Seocho to a District 1 pipeline of 18,000 homes, targeting first construction start in December 2028, with the combined 20,000 unit development positioned as the government's primary near-term Gangnam supply response. First-time buyers accounted for 45.6% of Seoul apartment transactions in the first 5 months of 2026, the highest share since data collection began in 2010. With buyers in their 30s making up 56.1% of that first-time group, the first time that cohort has held a majority. So what does this mean for property buyers and renters in Korea? Earlier we said 7,000 listings disappeared from the Seoul market in 3 days, combined with a Jeonse supply index at a 5-year high of 121.2, that signals renters facing lease renewals this summer will encounter higher asking prices with materially fewer alternatives. The Seoripul designation adds 20,000 units to the Gangnam pipeline, but the December 2028 construction target means the near-term supply constraint persists for at least 2 more years. Anyone making an entry decision should price in continued upward pressure through at least mid-2027. The 45% first-time buyer share, driven by genuine housing demand rather than speculative flipping, means the market's correction scenario depends entirely on policy, not sentiment. Watch the government's property tax overhaul expected in late July as the primary near-term catalyst that could shift the supply-demand balance. That's today's AI Prism Real Estate. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI Prism is a Won IFRA award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.